All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, to episode 35 of Narrations and Lamentations with Mittierim and Du Bois. I am your host, Mittierim, and we are still, at least as of the moment, a one-boy show. With me tonight is Skip, the Warhammer geek. Say hi, Skip.
Hello.
Michael is still working on his horrific computer and trying to get it to connect. It has failed, so I think we need to get him something a little bit more powerful computer-wise, like a Commodore 64.
I was thinking i99, but yeah.
That'll work. But yeah, he may be joining us, or he may be doing what he did last week and bouncing like a freaking rubber ball a billion times. So we'll find out. So tonight's show is going to focus on rewards and consequences in a Warhammer campaign. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about narrative campaigns, non-narrative campaigns, just kind of throw some thoughts out there. Apparently, this is the least interesting topic we could do because nobody, not even our number one fan, Vince Venturella, has left us any questions tonight. So this may be more of a rambling stream of thought kind of thing, and probably one of our shorter shows because of that. So either way, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we've been working on. I know Skip and I have not had much of an opportunity to do any painting this week because, well, it's just been a crazy week for both of us. But we have started at least brainstorming on a project that Skip has promised for a couple weeks now. So you want to go ahead and tell the folks about what sort of where we're at in that project and what it is?
Yeah, we had discussed it before about putting together a weather factor when it comes to some of the scenarios. And I think what we decided was when we go to roll for terrain, we end up, what was it, a encampment of destruction?
Yeah, I think that was the plan, is if we roll encampment of destruction or encampment of order, we're going to do a weather roll instead.
We're going to do a weather roll instead because we never make those other choices. So.
But, okay, I think... Hold on a minute, Skip. I think we got Michael on, but he is bringing every bit of background noise and crazy BS with him. So, can you hear us at all, Michael? He sounds like he's in a speeding car, even though I can see that he's sitting at his house.
And he's wearing a hat at least.
Yeah. I wish I could... Can I, like, mute him? There we go. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to let him know that I've muted him. You keep talking, I'm going to let him know I've muted him.
But we kind of started brainstorming today. I put together a kind of a first draft of what I thought some of the good weather choices were going to be. So we'll be kind of banting those back and forth. So hopefully by next show, we'll actually have them pretty much ironed out. So, but a couple of things that we had discussed, I can just say off the top of my head, I think it was like a blizzard, high winds, light rain, big storm, and that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, it's been a long day.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to try and unmute him and see if... It won't let me unmute him. Apparently it is decided that Michael has nothing good to say in this conversation. Can you unmute yourself, Michael? I wish you could hear us with the thing at the top.
Yeah, he's unmuted now.
He's unmuted, but all we can hear is background noise.
I think he might have his mic in the wrong slot, or his headphones in the wrong slot.
I don't know. Alright, I'm going to mute him again because if not, that noise is going to make me go to his house and murder him. There, okay. I guess we'll keep talking, and Michael, when you feel, I almost like him on this show better with no voice, because now I can like fill in what he's saying. I don't know, man. Keep trying to fix something. You seriously sound like you're in a wind tunnel when I unmute you. I don't know if you're plugged in wrong or you just need a less POS computer, but just fix it. But at any rate, so why don't you run down while we're chatting about this? Do you have what sort of our line of thinking was, and maybe we can present it, and if people have any ideas, they can do that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Here's what I kind of put together. It's going to be on a D6 roll, and it's kind of, and the first one's actually light rain, kind of like what it sounds with Michael's mic right now.
Right. I was thinking that was more heavy storm.
So the way I put it out there is, number one, you roll a 1, it's called light rain. What I proposed was any dangerous terrain checks fail on a 1 or 2. Then and then Josh came back and do his like mud and slippage, non-skirmishing units treats all open ground as dangerous terrain. I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I like that. I just think, I mean, the idea of making dangerous terrain fail on a 1 or 2 is just frankly horrifying.
Especially the way I roll dangerous terrain. Yeah, definitely.
But the idea of just opening up different units to it is different. Just as a side note, Vince says apparently watching it sounds like there's a waterfall on the broadcast, like it's a Japanese garden. So congratulations, Michael, you are a Japanese garden. We're going to keep it muted. What you need to do, Michael, is get yourself a little drawing board, and if you have something to say, write it and hold it up to the screen. He's turned himself black and white, so he looks like an old an old movie. All right. So wow. keep going, Skip. I'm sorry.
That's all right. High winds, it will be the number 2 roll. I put together any flyers must pass a strength test to be able to fly. Also, you put in a suggestion, maybe also +1 to scatter distances. I think that's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 is kind of one I like, but I still don't know what we can do with it. Extreme dry conditions. What I put in is any fire or lightning spells have their strength increased by 1 because of the the dry weather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the one I'm kind of on.
So I actually had a second thought to this, but I don't know if it makes it too powerful. Mm-hmm. Basically, any attacks with the flaming attack special rule get +1 wound.
+1 wound?
Yeah, okay. +1 to wound, yeah.
Okay. That would be interesting. Okay. Number 4, heavy storm. What I put is any unit using gunpowder fails to fire on a result of 1. But you thought maybe if we could combine number 1 and number 2 as part of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, I think just trying to pick out because there's no rule that says this is a gunpowder weapon and this isn't. I mean, what about the tank or the cannon on a steam tank? It's technically a steam cannon. So is the one on the gyrocopter, and I think it'd be fiddly too much. So.
Okay. Number 4. That was number 4. Excuse me. Number 5, dense fog. I put all ranged attacks distance reduced by 5 and charge ranges reduced by D3. You came back with just to limit the line of sight to 12 inches, which basically takes care of both things, I think.
Yeah.
And the final one is number 6, blizzard. All movement reduced by D3, and then I put all non-mounted units considered to have light cover, which and I'll quote, blizzard fucks dwarves. But then you came back with all units treat open ground as dangerous terrain, and all shooting units must roll a 4 up to be able to fire. Spell ranges are reduced by half.
Yeah.
Which I like. which I thought that was pretty good.
Well, and I thought that one was pretty funny because Michael fired back with, "Oh, well, Blizzard doesn't seem too bad to me. It means my stuff's harder to hit." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but the way it's written, if you roll a 3 on the reduced movement, then you just die.
Yeah.
Because one of your stats is hit 0. It's like."
Yeah, I forgot about that when I put that together.
So if you guys have any other thoughts, I know Vince says that dangerous terrain on all units on all open ground. So every time my 40-man brick moves, 1/6 of them die. Yes, Vince, we hate 40-man bricks. They all must die. Just for the record, it's all non-skirmishing units, but yes, if and you may be right. It may be scarier than the 1 or 2 thing. Mm-hmm. But that's why this is just sort of like literally we just started doing this today. So these is just like his first response and my first sort of line of thinking to counter it. And all right, I'm going to try and unmute Michael again and see if he's still in the waterfall. Damn it, it won't let me unmute him. Apparently it's just telling me yes. D-Y. Oops. I unmuted him and then remuted him.
Okay, is it okay now?
Holy crap, it's okay.
We can hear him.
Okay. It's not supposed to say okay. I didn't realize that this would mirror it, and it would be...
No, it looks right to us, but like, you can't see part of the K, so it was like D something.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back.
It's a Festivus miracle.
So
I figured out what it was. It was my case.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why. I took my case off. That's what fixed it. Don't know why.
Wow.
I don't understand it.
Awesome,
dumb.
man. So let's take a moment, everyone, to admire the Hat of Shame for what is still technically the first week of him being able to wear it.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad I actually got here before the actual topic. I don't know if you caught the first part, but apparently this is a topic that is interesting to no one because not even our number one fan has left us any questions today, so it'll probably be a very short. Probably be a very short episode. So, so other than working on the weather, have you done anything hobby related this week, Michael?
I painted some more of one of my Minotaurs.
That, sir, makes you the most productive of us. Painting part of one Minotaur.
He's almost done. He just needs a lot more done to him.
I just need to get... Well, I need to get a week that's not kicking my ass, and then I need to just get a fire lit. It's like, now that I've gotten enough lizard men to play at 1,000 points, I'm just like, I don't need to paint anything else right now. It can sit there.
Well, technically, Alicia finished my riders, so my Sisters of the Thorn. So, yay. Technically, I got painted.
I don't know if that counts. It's still you being a lazy sack.
It counts in tournaments.
Okay. So, all right. So I guess I'm the lazy sack of the group this week. I'll take that.
I was just saying it counted in tournaments. We're not tournament players.
Yeah.
Nice. We missed you, Michael. I need help keeping Skip reined in. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our topic of choice here. What we kind of want to talk about is thoughts in terms of rewards and or consequences in Warhammer campaigns. Now, in my experience, there's two basic type of campaigns. There's something that's very narrative, like what we're doing, where we're not really bothering with maps or specific sort of tactical movements of our overall forces. And then there's something more like Blood in the Badlands, which was the first campaign that we played, which is very much about, like, you need to conquer areas on the map, you get little cities and towns and whatnot, and those give you all sorts of benefits. So I guess my first question to open up to the floor is, what do you guys think is ultimately the better system? In just purely opinion-wise, do you prefer something where there's sort of a metagame where you've got to focus on getting those rewards from the map itself? Or is it better more to have the rewards a little less tied to rules like we've tried to do.
I think I like the way that we're doing it. I think it's a more personal feel to it because you're actually going to, with the rewards we set up, is things that we've set ourselves for our armies specifically on what we want to do. Whereas with Blood in the Badlands, it's just kind of random as what you get if you win. Whereas we are going more of this is what I'm trying to accomplish. There is going to be a little bit of random element to it, but I think it's just a little bit more personal for what we're trying to do. And I prefer that.
What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to skip on that. I like the narrative.
Okay. Well, let me ask this, because this was something that commonly came up when we first started doing these narratives that folks were talking about. Sort of the other way to do a narrative campaign with consequences and rewards is to essentially put authorship on the line. It was commonly believed with our first campaign that we're working on finishing, hopefully tomorrow if Skip doesn't have to get called into work. Folks thought, or I guess they assumed, that whoever won got to write the write-up for the narrative. What do you guys think is that as a possible reward or consequence? And how do you think it would ultimately have shaped the narrative had we done that?
I wouldn't have done a lot of writing. Seriously, I call a spade a spade.
I like having an even number of us writing.
I definitely think if we had done something like that, the winner is the one that writes, I think it could have led to much more maybe tenseness in the games. And admittedly, I think we'll have to admit, even with the sort of light narrative play we were doing, there were several times that tempers got a little heated at various things going on. But I think if you combine that with the idea that if you are the one winning, then you're the only one forwarding the narrative, I think it would have added more to that stress.
Yeah.
And did I just see you shrug at that, Skip, that you don't feel like we had tempers heated? Son, don't make me call you out here in front of the 4 people watching us right now.
I know I whine like a bitch sometimes. Hey, I freely admit it. I know I did.
Don't feel bad, Skip. I do it all the time.
The last couple of weeks, I actually have been. My wife has yelled from the other room that I need to stop being so butthurt. So I'm not. I am not immune to that either. But and the funny part is, she was saying it in games that I had won. So it was like we were just talking about things about the army, and she's like, "You need to stop being so butthurt." And I'm like, "But I won. I'm not butthurt at all. I won. We were just discussing tactics." But so apparently Vince has decided to chime in with some questions. Apparently he was too busy with work. You and your gainful employment.
Wow. Shame.
No, we appreciate it, sir. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's been a long week. I'm letting off steam in every direction, so folks should probably stand back if they're not going to catch a blast of it in the face. All right, he's got some good questions, but we'll put them off a little to the end, and I'll get back to him. But so let me ask this, since we've kind of touched on this with the whole us being potentially interpersonal issues potentially popping up. How do you see when you place sort of an artificial rewards / consequences system on it, do you guys feel that inherently sort of sets up a game for more of that stuff? More of that kind of folks being, for lack of a better word, butthurt if things go badly, or if they feel they're matched up against a cheesy list or something like that. Do you think it can exacerbate that feeling of unfairness.
And another group of gamers, maybe, but I mean, between the three of us, we don't really take cheesy lists. And yeah, we get butthurt, but we show back up the next Thursday and throw back down.
Right.
Sometimes we just accidentally stumble into a cheesy list.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Are you? For those who haven't watched my last battle report, there might be a few spoilers in the next couple of lines of conversation. But so, Michael, have you picked all of the arrows out of your ass from that game yet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I keep looking back and thinking about it, and it was less the list that he brought and more that I made some just bad placements. I should have just taken it on the chin with the -1 leadership thing and marched straight up. I would have killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very likely. I mean, I think it was a combination of his list was actually pretty hard for the 1,000 points.
Yeah.
But you played it exactly like he needed you to play it on top of that. So he was already had an advantage, and then you gave him a secondary advantage, and it was too much.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's nice to see that you're looking back on it with a different line of thinking. So that's always good.
Well, it helps to sit back and go, oh, I made a bad move there.
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
So wait a minute. You mean we're not supposed to just be randomly, blindly blaming our opponents when we lose?
Well, when we're playing, yes. But afterwards, we should be like, oh yeah, no, I did something wrong.
So you know what? Let's actually go into that, because that's been kind of a. And I'm sorry if we're getting off topic, but nobody cared about the topic anyway, so we might find our way back to it. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to sort of the talks on YouTube right now, but the topic of the week seems to be this idea of luck versus skill in Warhammer. Whether you can say Warhammer is a game of skill, or if it's got significant luck-based capacity, and if it does, then how do you explain that the same top people always win the tournaments? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I would say it's 70% skill, 30% luck. I mean, let's face it, in some of me and your games, you've had horrible dice luck. And I mean, like, oh, look, here's 5 ones to wound when I needed 2s. Great. And then you'd still pull out the win. That's straight out just skill, carrying it away.
And I agree. I think the big skill inherent in it, and I probably would agree with the 70-30 split as well. But I think the real skill comes in those times where luck just shits on you. Because I think that's where you're going to tell. I mean, I think 2 players can take a hard as nails list, and provided things go average for them, they're going. But even with those hard as nails lists, if you've got 2 players who are very different skill levels, and something goes wrong or something happens that's unexpected, the player who is less skillful is not going to be able to rise to that challenge. And so I think that skill is engaged in how you deal with it when shit goes off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, a good player is going to be able to recover from 1 or 2 bad dice rolls. You know, a good player is going to be able to rethink his strategy in the middle of it and go a different way if he needs to. So you are kind of at the mercy of the dice, and the dice are always going to be either lucky or unlucky, you know. And you just need to roll with the punches with it, whichever way it goes.
So Vince apparently asked, didn't Skip have Eternal Guard? Seemed like a pretty average Wood Elf list to me. They were dudes with bows. I think Wood Elves against Beastmen is just a bad matchup.
I still could have won. I
Yeah.
placed
Well,
badly.
I think he's more questioning us or saying that Skip's list was a hard list. I think that's the point he's making.
Well, we haven't played any of the rest of the styles of Wood Elf list, so
I don't know. People talk shit about those Eternal Guard, and I don't see why. I mean, those Eternal Guard were pretty solid that game.
yeah.
I mean, they pretty much. Of course, it helps when you put anything with ASF in a poison forest, but.
I mean, you can't really
But
go
yeah.
wrong with Stubborn Core. I mean, Stubborn Core.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You know.
Welcome to my world, Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, the always response to that is, oh, they're just strength 3, toughness 3. It's like, okay.
Number of attacks.
Yeah, but when you've shot your opponents all to hell before they get to that strength 3, toughness 3, all those attacks are going to come through, or at least have a bigger impact. But I don't know. I mean, you may be right, Vince. I don't know much in the way of Wood Elves. It certainly wasn't a high avoidance list, but I think the battle report showed that he had the tools necessary to get the job done. So, vaguely getting back to topic, which do you guys think is better in terms of providing benefit to the campaign? Is it better to have rewards for the winners, consequences for the losers, or do you feel like you need to have a balance of both?
I think a good balance of both. I think it should weigh a little bit more towards the winning side because you are the winner. But, I think that you can get something out of losing because sometimes you learn a lot when you lose. So I don't see why you can't be rewarded to a certain degree when that happens. But I don't think it needs to be a 50-50. I think it could be like a 80-20 or a 90-10, in favor of the winner because you did. You won the game. You beat me.
Right.
So I think that if we look at it that way, if we look at it in percentages, I think 80-20 would probably be the best thing because you are getting something from it. And then I think
So you're talking about the opportunity for even the loser to get something positive.
To get something positive out of it. Like for example,
Okay.
let's say for example, I'm going. I think I used this example before. I'm playing Bretonia and I'm going for one of my virtues. Okay. I may be able to get that by fulfilling something in the game, but even though I still maybe got my butt whipped, and got almost tabled except for that one guy, you're going to get something out of it even if you almost get tabled. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right. And I understand that, and that's actually a different answer than I was aiming for. But what I was talking more about is the idea of consequences, as in, do you think it's important to have something negative occur to the guy that loses? Like, I mean, in the Blood in the Badlands, the winning group rolls on the winner's table. The loser group rolls on the loser's table. So there's chances to have big impacts on either side. So do you feel that it's necessary to punish the loser in addition to the fact that they lost the game? I don't know. Or as Nicholas Belaert says, he likes the idea of rewarding the losers because winning is its own reward.
Yeah, but we're okay. I don't want us to be in the oh my god, everybody gets first place even though we lost.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not a big fan of the participation trophy buffs either.
I mean, you win, you win. You lose. I mean, when I played football back in the day, we lost games. They didn't give us a little trophy and go, hey, you won because you were here. No, we lost, and then we picked ourselves up, and we trained harder, and we won. That's what you do when you lose. You get better.
That's a good point. So Oh no, go ahead, Skip. No, you
I think
first.
I think the Blood in the Badlands went a little too far when it comes to losing, because then, I think one of the things was the winners gets like 500 or 1,000 extra points in their next battle or something like that. I think that's a little too much. I think if it's done in moderation, I think it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. You just don't want to see something that'll snowball into essentially deciding the next game.
Exactly.
So that actually leads me in a perfect segue to the next question. Arguably, the way that we're choosing to do rewards for the next campaign could lead to one particular army who happens to be the strongest getting, basically, the rich will get richer while the poor get poorer sort of situation. Do you guys foresee that as potentially being a problem, and is it something that we should sort of engage up front, or is it just going to be something that you think we should have to deal with determining our tactics with, and something that should resolve itself on the board?
I mean, frankly, whatever rules we write, that's rules in general, are going to be imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some kind of, it's not balanced just enough. I mean, it's just like Warhammer. There are certain things that are not balanced at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to take the good with the bad on that. And if it comes to, I've got to now decide, I don't need that unit, I need this unit to do this. Then that's what we're going to do, or I need to play tactically better.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to dictate a little bit of what lists we take, because if we want to go, say, for example, we're going to loot a forest, we need maybe or something that can get in there and not worry about looting. It's just going to be it's going to be list driven on how we're going to approach that individual game.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that sort of thinking in terms of the campaign is going to be a good thing, or is it something that you think we'll get more fun out of doing it that way, or will it get sort of overly bookkeepy?
I think it'll be a good thing, and it's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to make us try. It's going to force us to try new things that we don't normally try in our list. I mean, our last narrative, we basically took our cookie cutter list. We went, these are the units that are always in my army, and then put those on the table. And these are the units that are always in my army, and put those back on the table. This way, instead of me taking 30 Longbeards, I might take 20 Slayers, because I need to do something that I need Slayers for. I don't know what that would be. Slayers are useless, but
I don't think they're useless. I used, back when I was playing Dwarves, I used the 5-man Slayer darts to great effect.
In a 20-man brick, they are nothing but a mutually assured destruction button. Mm. Let me throw this into a unit that's not going to live, but I'm not going to live either, but I don't care, because that unit's not living either.
Right. So apparently we've been picking on poor Nicholas Belaird again. We've mischaracterized him. And he throws this back at you, Michael. But when your Little League team loses, your opponents don't get extra benefits next game. I say that's an arguable point. I think that the benefit of the morale boost for having won the last game, and potentially the intimidation factor, I think that is exactly an extra benefit that you get. And I think that's part of what's represented by these little buff bonuses that, like in Blood in the Badlands. Mm-hmm. But his point was, what he says is, his point was more along the lines of why we don't take rock hard lists. It's because we want to keep it a fair matchup. If the winners get better while the losers keep losing, I don't know. I think he's asking if that makes a fair matchup. Probably not. But to be honest, I don't even know that I would characterize why we don't take hard lists as us wanting a fair matchup. I think it's more, it makes us feel bad when we win with something that's just such an obvious I win button. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want some kind of effort when I win.
Yeah.
I want to feel like, hey, I won this.
Yeah. And I guess that's for me. I mean, that's why I think I'm going to, with the vampire counts, I'm not ever going to take a Blender Lord. Yeah, Blender Lords are good and they're powerful, but like the games that I've played without one, like since we started these practices, I actually feel like the rest of my army is doing something, and I've got to like think about it, and I've got to be more engaged. Now that may not be true of everybody, so vampire fans, don't get your your torches and pitchforks yet. But I mean, for me personally, I think the Blender Lord kind of became a crutch, and so I'm going with a quote unquote fairer list, mainly just to explore different things that the army has and to try and not rely on a one-touch win button.
Well, one thing with the new rules that we're doing too, it's going to force us to actually engage the scenery or the terrain. Whereas a lot of times we stick rivers and all that stuff off to the side of the road or side of the board, or we stick it right in the middle where Michael can't charge me. But that's beside the point.
I'm playing Blizzard Man now. The rivers are going all in my deployment zone.
But still, I mean, we do that. We just constantly, if we roll up a bad piece of terrain, we're going to stick it over here. And it's going to cause us to start engaging the terrain more. And I think that's going to make more fun games too. It's going to make it a different challenge for us.
Just for the record, I don't usually put shit on the side. That happens to be some other people we typically play with. I usually will put it right in the middle so it'll piss us all off.
I stick it over in the farthest corner possible. Oh, that's a river?
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to go over in my deployment. That's going to go way over in the right corner. Is it touching the board edge? Yeah, that's good.
Oh. Speaking of which, as I might as well mention this because I'm going to be plugging this this fellow and his work as many times as I can for everything that he's doing with us. I got all of the photos for all of the stuff that Black Tower Games is sending to us, or Black Tower Terrain is sending to us. Not only has he made us an absolutely amazing looking Sorcerer's Portal at a great price, but he has donated 2 forests, 2 hills, some wall pieces, some accent pieces to us, and I mean they look awesome. So definitely, if anybody hasn't gone and checked out his channel or his Facebook page, it's Black Tower Terrain. Go check it out. He's great work, great prices, great friend of the show and channel. So definitely go check him out. And once I get the pieces, he overnighted it today, so I should have them tomorrow. I'll probably take some pictures and throw them up on the YouTuber site and let everybody see the awesome that he has unleashed upon us. So they're commercial ever. I feel like Lord Tremendous doing commercials now. I figure he keeps getting a couple more sponsors and he won't even need to do the battle report, so he'll just do an hour-long infomercial. But, all right, so let's actually, I do actually want to talk a little bit about, since we're talking about sort of the idea of punishing the losers, I want to talk about the first question that Vince has sent to us here. And this is something that he and I have actually chatted about amongst ourselves. But his question is, how much do you think the chance of character death should be ever present? He and I have talked about this, and he thinks that it should always be a possibility. And he says something like the Mordheim percentage chances, which, I'll be honest, Vince, I don't remember exactly what those were. My argument, sort of counter-argument to this was, I think there needs to be sort of an immunity period to let us get the characters set up and matter. That there should be a certain, sort of up to a certain point in the narrative, they should be sort of plot armor protected across the board to give us a chance to build them up and interact and start the narrative going before we run the risk of just brutalizing dudes like a level 1 mage. And I'm talking D&D there, so if you're confused, that's what it is. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we need a plot immunity for a little while. I mean, 15-point magic item cap means a lot of our characters are going to die very quickly. Oh, look, I've got 2 wounds, and 2 guys from your unit just killed me. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, but we got a seed of rebirth.
So
No.
apparently Vince has clarified to me in a little text here that it's a low chance of death and they have to die in battle to potentially die. So in the narrative. So keeping that in mind.
Okay, keeping that in mind, I still have a seed of rebirth.
6 up regen, unless I take a
That's all I
5-point
can
flaming
afford.
item.
All right. So then let's sort of take that a little further. Let's say we do go with say a 3-game plot immunity or whatever we're going to set up. After that point, how much do you guys think the risk of death should be as a result of sort of what happened on the table and maybe on a die roll or something? Or how much of it do you think it should be done like we did with this past campaign, in that it's purely narrative and we sort of know, unless we've sort of discussed it as a group, that the characters they might suffer from various fallings, but they're not going to just outright die unless we've sort of cleared it with each other.
I kind of feel like they should have it should be like a consecutive thing. Like, oh, he's died 3 times in back-to-back games. And yeah, I might have won most of those games, but he's died 3 times. Then start implying he's close to death. Because in actual war, if you get knocked down that many times, you're not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Or there could be a penalty to his stats, like lowering initiative by 1 or lowering strength by 1 or something like that if it's like a really bad wound or, after the 3 games. Either that or we're going to all start going, I'm going to go for the new talisman of protection. That's going to be my quest for this particular game, and all of us are going to jump on board because we want that ward save,
I have runes for that kind of stuff.
So apparently Vince says that he thinks that early on is exactly the time they should be most vulnerable. Your characters are never as vulnerable to death in D&D as they are at first level. Not every quote-unquote hero is actually destined to be a hero. Sometimes the chosen one just never is. Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're going from there. And maybe it's just an argument over what type of fun we're looking to get out of it. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that might be cool, even if we are to open up sort of the generalized death or even random death, like 1 plot veto. It's like leave it to death. Leave death to random chance from day 1, but then for each of the armies you play, so it would basically be 2 for each of us. You have 1 plot veto, where if the dice rolls show, hey, this guy gets axed or whatever, you have the opportunity then, before the next game, to write up a sort of a sensible escape from death, and sort of veto that.
I'd be cool with that. That makes a lot of sense.
I could see that.
I mean, a lot of heroes have that moment of destiny.
Yeah, and that way it wouldn't be just a blanket, all of our characters are immune to death for the first 3 games or whatever, but it would let us kind of shape the narrative by giving the opportunity to have those heroes be destined to be heroes because there's the greater power protecting them, that kind of thing. That may be something we have to work on off screen.
That's pretty cool. Thanks, Vince. Yeah. You gave us more work.
Right.
Well,
hold on. I think. Well, I think we just got another comment from Nicholas, it's going to go the other way, so maybe he'll unwork us. Nicholas says, because of the way Warhammer works, it seems to him that narrative death is the best. Because it's not like a Warhammer game where you have warbands that buy and keep and draw from. If your level 4 dies, you can still make a level 4 next game. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't even know that we've discussed how that's going to work in this narrative. Whether or not we're going to allow ourselves to do that, or what the rules are, because I know we've limited ourselves to only one wizard starting off until we can recruit more. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to turn into more work. Thanks, Nicholas. That's more work.
It never ends. It never ends. Forever.
It doesn't. A good campaign shouldn't ever end, though. We should always be trying to find ways to make it better. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
So, all right, so question 2. And I guess this will go back to what we were talking about. Do you prefer frequent small rewards or large rare rewards?
I guess I'd still say a mixture of both.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I kind of think that's the way our campaign is set up. The new campaign is set up, because, I mean, you've got your small frequent rewards in terms of, the loot that you get out of the forests or the buildings and stuff, and then you've got the big rewards for the idea of sort of risking the missions to earn various things. So, like the sort of betting and mission challenge to earn the powers. So I think we kind of have both.
Mm-hmm. I like the big rewards.
You like just going big rewards?
I play dwarves. What do you expect? I'm short people. We like big things.
So Vince says he thinks the new idea is a great deal. Or he likes the new idea a great deal. A single chip to give in seems nice to me. You can protect someone you've become very fond of, but for the others, it's the butcher's cart. Oh, yeah.
Seed of rebirth, baby.
Oh God.
It doesn't really rebirth you, Skip. It's just a ward save.
Just a 6-up regen.
Sorry.
It's all right, folks. Skip still hasn't read the rule book. No, he did go. What did you go? 9 months playing this game before you bought a rule book?
Yep.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never bought the rule book.
You still don't own a copy of the rule book?
Hell no. I just know the rules.
Jesus Christ. These are the people I play with. This is actually the reason we're probably not going to go to 9th when it comes, is none of us lazy asses want to buy the rule book.
So much effort.
Wow.
I gotta go online, I gotta find it, and I gotta click buy, and I've actually gotta buy it. I don't want to spend money. I hate spending money.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So, number 3. How do you feel about penalties to units or heroes when they, quote-unquote, die in the game? Penalties to movement, fear of certain creatures, etc. Or the same thing, but in reverse. Hatred against certain units, bonus to attacks if you're particularly badass, and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah, we are doing the Regiments of Renown type thing, so yeah, I think that, I mean, I wouldn't see why if your ghouls come in and destroy my peasants, why my peasants wouldn't be afraid of the ghouls next game. You know?
You mean other than the fact that they're already afraid of the ghouls because undead have fear?
I'd almost say implement a MVP status for.
Well, here, let me throw out. I'm actually going to come down on the no side of this for a very simple reason. I think there is a very fine line between cool rules that add to the campaign and too much bookkeeping to keep up with.
Yeah.
And I think once you start applying each unit its own benefits and penalties beyond sort of the Regiment of Renown flag deal that we've got going. I think you run the risk of getting into just too many. Yeah, just too much to keep track of. And I mean, if you have to keep track of each of your units having this effect versus this person, and it gets into how you make your list, and I just think it's too much to remember.
Yeah, that might get a little messy.
Yep.
So, you have to remember, Vince. Yeah. First things first, Vince, we are lazy. We are lazy gentlemen, so no extra work if we don't have to. So let me ask you guys this first off, since we've kind of answered questions. Looking ahead, before we play, we played a few trial games so far. What is the biggest reward that you're looking for each of the armies that you're playing? I mean, what's your golden ticket?
Like what we can just get randomly, or
no? What
either
way. What are you looking forward to? Going, God, I hope I can get that.
Stubborn banner for the dwarves. I want that banner.
That's what, 50 points for you?
Oh, no. That's 75.
75
it's
points.
Expensive. I've made it when I got that.
Oh, yeah. So what about you, Skip?
Acorn of the Ages.
Oh, God.
You guys are going pricey.
Go big, go home.
Right. I actually think I want to go with the Egg of Quango. Like, it's 35 points. It's not much. I like the idea of like hucking eggs of Quango at people. For the lizard men.
Yeah.
For the vampires, I'm not certain. I think the first thing I want is the ability to take another magic type, or rather to unlock another wizard. That would probably be my first. Like, I need a necromancer in that army bad.
Yeah.
I need one real bad. I don't remember if I said this, but Michael and I played a few games the other day, and I didn't take a battle report of it, but I actually lost with my vampire counts top of turn 1 on my turn.
It was beautiful. And kaboom, everything's gone.
Yeah, I tried throwing my first with my only vampire, only lore of vampires caster I've got. I miscast, sucker down the hole, and pretty much my whole army crumbles away during the crumble top of turn 1.
Yeah, it was.
So I need a new necromancer really, really bad. War General T says, "Poor Josh. So you must be the rules judge every game then." Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much have taken it on me to be not only the rules judge, but I run this show. These guys just show up and crack wise for an hour. I do all the planning for the show. I pretty much run all the organization for all of our campaign games. They're very much just riding on my coattails, and we all know it. Right, fellas?
Yeah, pretty much.
Have a channel.
You have a channel? I don't think it counts if you haven't put out any content in the last month, Skip.
Oh, yeah, I got to do that. I forgot about that.
You do.
Yeah, I'm riding coattails.
Yeah, we're okay with that.
Right. They always are. I think the side effect of the fact that in D&D I'm always the dungeon master, so I think they're just just comfortable in letting me do my thing and just showing up to have fun.
Pretty much.
Yep.
We got a new question, and it's a good one. So let me refresh it because my email is only showing me half of it, and I'm pretty sure it'll still be good even when I see the last half. God damn it! Have I said recently that I hate YouTube? Because I really kind of hate YouTube. Um, or more to the point, I hate Google Plus that doesn't show me the whole comment when somebody comments something. Because that's bad. And of course now it doesn't show. Okay, so I'm going to read half the comment, and if like your question was like something totally different in the by the end of it, correct me. But Mystic on the Hill asks, if your characters are always dying for whatever reason, do you think you'll have the same enjoyment or immersion in the narrative as the players who are not? And then he says, doesn't it risk some people having less, and I'm going to guess either fun or investment of the narrative, but that's where it cuts off. So let's answer this question, and if there's more in the second half, I'll find it when the question finally gets on YouTube.
I would think that I would hate that idea of always having to come up with new characters. I like Game of Thrones, and they're killing people left and right all the time. And I love that show. So I don't know if it'll actually affect me, or if I'll just be like, yeah, everybody dies all the time, and I don't care.
I think it might have to do with how they die. I'm never afraid of character death, provided that it's worthwhile to the narrative. And that's true in D&D as well as Warhammer. But I really have no use for death that is just stupid and unnecessary. I mean, who wants to tell the story of the mighty warlord who tripped and fell in a hole and broke his neck and died?
I do. I want to tell that story. It'll be in my volume of most embarrassing tales of warlord generals.
But the point is, I think there is the danger of that to a certain degree, is if something dumb happens and... I mean, for God's sake, let's look at my vampires, who are all... I mean, vampires are, for the most part, all based around their characters anyway, because most of your troops are mindless, and it's hard to have a good story around mindless dudes. But, like, what if we play that first game of the campaign with my vampires, and I suck her down the hole turn one, and she dies? It's like... I probably would feel a little bad about that. I definitely would feel like I'm having less fun than the person who didn't get sucked down the hole turn one and die.
Yeah. Also, that'd kind of spin your storyline for them for us in a tailspin, because I don't know where you go from there.
I don't either. Like, literally, if that's I think the screwed up part about the vampire accounts, because they are so personality driven. Like, if my vampire dies, like, game one, like, permanently in the narrative, I don't really have a vampire counts army anymore. Like, I have no hook to the narrative, but I don't know. It's a thought. Also, as a side note, I am personally aggrieved that Banshees can't take magical gear. They're characters, they need gear. But, apparently, so let me bring this up too, since we're talking about just random shit. There was some discussion on the last battle report that was between you two about Michael essentially getting a pass on the lore of the wild, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. William Page put forth the idea that we should take pity on Michael and essentially let him cast that level 6 summon monster spell without any of the negative sides to it. What do you guys think about that? You don't like it?
No.
Michael? No?
No.
No pity, no mercy, huh?
Well, I'll state it like this. It's a cool idea, but at 1,000 points, let me go, hey, here's a 275-point Gorgon in your backfield, and I'm not going to be out of spells. I can keep casting and keep dispelling, and now there's a 6-wing Gorgon in your back. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at a higher point game, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But early on, that would destroy armies.
I, sir, respect your desire and sense of fair play, so we will do as you say and continue to let you use the crappiest lore in the game.
Hey, it's not that crappy.
No,
you come at me with fully armored dudes and then have no armor because of one spell.
Yeah, I mean there's certainly good stuff in it, but I think the biggest problem is that its signature spell sucks so bad.
Oh god, it sucks so bad. It's so terrible.
So, I'm gonna check and see if I can see the last half of that thing now, because YouTube is still dumb.
It's always dumb.
And actually, let me go back to War General T's comment about me having to be the rules judge. That is true to a certain degree, but on the other hand, despite at least one of us not having the rule books or anything, I think we know the rules fairly freaking well. So it's very, very rarely do we have really big rules arguments. And usually when we do get something wrong with the rules, we don't find out about it until much later when someone comments on these videos, like when Skip was using a mounted character in Transformation to Kadon and stuff like that.
It's sad. I immediately thought of that too.
Which I thought was badass the way it ended anyway, so I think...
Yeah, I probably would have said screw it and let's play it that way anyway.
Yeah.
So, Vince says, the answer of who wants to tell the story of deaths for no great purpose seems to be the universe. It makes the survivor more real when they have to earn it. Some of the greatest, quote, characters from history die in silly or non-quote heroic ways. Attila the Hun, Alexander the Great, and so on. Sometimes you just take the halberd to the face. I mean, in many cases, these are just humans, right? They're capable humans, but things happen. Yes, but you know what? The universe is what we're trying to escape from with our escapist fantasies, Vince.
Also, I don't believe any one of us are playing, except for Skip, are playing a human army.
Yeah.
I have dwarves. Dwarves don't die in that fashion.
And that being said, I think you are 100% right. Yes, if we were aiming for realism, your way is right 100% of the time. But I'll be honest with you, I get more of my dose of realism in my real life. I want to play fantasy games, tell badass stories. I want to play heroes who don't freaking die to a halberd in the face from some podunk peasant. I want, if I'm going to bother to tell a story, I want to tell a story that's interesting and that is going to be escapist fun for me. I'm not looking to run a medieval war documentary. If we were, I would probably be playing historicals, and I have no interest in doing that because I don't care. So, what do you guys think about that? I kind of went a little ranty there. I'm sorry.
I think he insulted my peasants.
And how would that be different from normal? I'm always insulting your peasants.
That's a good point.
You should be worried when I start praising them.
I don't play fantasy for realism. I play fantasy for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we play D&D. When is a priest ever actually going to do half the shit that they do in the game?
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, I think there is a certain line to be drawn in when you go from hero to superhero.
Well, yeah.
And that's actually one of my big beefs with like the third and later editions of Dungeons and Dragons, is I think for me they cross that line from going from being a hero, being somebody who's a little bit better and is a little different, to I'm a superhero, let me beat you in the face with my feet cock. And and I don't like that. So I think there is some, for each individual, I would assume, some line where you have to draw and go, you know what, let's introduce a little more realism here. But I think for me, there's a lot of room before we get to that point.
What class in third have you been playing that has feet cocks as a weapon?
Feet, F-E-A-T.
F-E-A-T. Oh, feet.
Yeah,
feet.
like I take my giant feet and now I whirl around doing horrible things, or I maximize.
You know what? It sounds funny though.
Yeah, it really does. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I'm not thinking straight.
I enjoyed that, Josh. I enjoyed that.
All right. Well, you know what? You can enjoy feet cock all you want to. I won't question
I'm gonna make a class for that.
Wow.
Just wow.
Wow.
All right, fellas. Well, as I've said, it is getting late. I think we've run this idea into the ground. That comment from Mystic on the Hill still hasn't shown up, which is weirding me out. So I can't see what like the end of what he was saying was. So if we did not answer your question fully, what?
Well, give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. What did he just like mute himself and turn into a dwarf? That's what I saw on his icon. Like, I am muted and now I'm a dwarf. I just hope he's not going to go get his feet cocked.
Yeah. He worries me.
Yeah, but you know what? That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's finally got a computer that works. Or he's probably on his phone. He's probably not even on the computer. So we are attempting, I guess I'll give heads up on sort of what's coming soon in the channel. We are attempting to get together to finally finish the current freaking campaign. It's just, real life has just been kicking us in the teeth in our ability to get all three of us in a room at the same time. And it may very well do so again, but we'll try and get that done. Then I've got to do the new Fluffmasters videos for each of our armies, so we'll get that set up. And then hopefully a week from tomorrow, unless my schedule changes at work, which is entirely possible, we will start doing the new campaign then. So where did you run to? What was up?
I'm on my phone, so I was like, oh, I can just go on the YouTube, and then I realized while I was there that, oh, yeah, it's not showing up on YouTube. There's a comment.
Because your YouTube is specialer than mine, so it'll show up on your YouTube, right?
Yeah, that was a train of thought before I got there and realized, oh, wait, none of my shit works. Why would I assume this would work?
Oh, that's funny. But so the idea is hopefully in the next 2 weeks or so we're going to be starting the new campaign. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I still do want to do some role-playing videos that I was talking about last week's session, but I haven't gotten to do any work on them because this week has been nuts. But so that we're kind of looking to do that as well. So, and apparently Skip is going to get something up on his channel again sometime soon.
Hopefully.
Although we don't know what that